Okay, welcome back to Mama Monday. It is March 6th, 2023, and I am so happy that Sara, you are here with us today as our leading mother of Q1. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So Sara, I'm so excited that you get to join us today because I know you have really worked hard at trying to figure out this conundrum of working parenthood, of trying to, be the 10 out of 10 in your career and having the connection, the relationships, being able to be present with your kids at nighttime. And I just know that your story is so relatable to everybody in our groups. And I'd love for you to share, what kind of share your journey. You had kids a few years ago. They're both under the age of 6, right?
Correct. Yep. 4 and
Awesome.
5.
4 and 5. Oh my gosh. Busy and busier.
Very.
Yeah. And you've been doing all this and you've been in cybersecurity sales this whole time, right?
Yeah. I started out in cybersecurity sales about 9 years ago. And I've been doing that and GRC ever since.
Yeah. Okay. For those who don't know, governance, risk, and compliance, right?
Yes, correct. Sorry about that. The acronyms, they're everywhere.
They really are. They really are. Excellent. So if you want to kind of just walk us through, I'll let you just walk us through your story, because we've got people that have kids of all ages in our groups. I know that a lot of people have kids up until about 5, and then I see a little bit of trend where we've got, folks coming back in as parents of older children, and then maybe they're caregiving for a parent themselves or a sibling, or they're playing dual roles in that perspective. And so I'd love to just kind of walk through those early years of parenthood and what that felt like when you were trying to go to work and juggle everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I am happy to talk about this. I try to share my story, with anybody that listens, really, because I think now that I've kind of, I guess you want to say, recovered from maybe some PTSD from everything I went through. It's nice to share stories and then realize other, working moms, or not, mothers in general, are going through the same thing. So 5.5 years ago, when I found out I was pregnant with my first, I ended up having a high-risk pregnancy, and I had to get induced about a month early. And I just remember sitting in the hospital, taking Pitocin and doing all these things while I was working, because I was like, well, I'm just going to be sitting in the hospital, and I'm going to be not doing anything. And I was transitioning accounts and having someone cover my accounts, and making sure my deals weren't lost. And I just remember it was normal. I was like, there's nothing, abnormal about this. I just am doing my job. I'm, whatnot. And I didn't have a very strong maternity leave. I think I only took 3 or 4 weeks off at my first job. And they let me, it was remote at that time already, but I just was working nonstop. I was breastfeeding. I was probably had some postpartum depression I wasn't, able to really fully be aware of. And kind of fast forward to my second, I ended up getting pregnant 8 months later. So my daughter's 8 months, and I found out I was pregnant again. And it was the same thing. Had to get induced early, another high-risk pregnancy, so a month early. And I just remember the pressure of, making sure my accounts were taken care of, everything like that. So after both pregnancies, I was back to work right away. And I don't think I ever really took a moment to just breathe and take in what I feel like every mother should be taking in, is just spending time with their infants. Because I just was so concerned about, hitting my number, making sure I was doing everything for work. And I think I put myself and even my babies in the back burner a little bit.
Yeah.
So, and it brought me, now looking back at it, I'm finally out of the thick of things. I feel like I can kind of breathe a little bit. But just last year, I hit a moment where, I've been kind of just ingrained in work your way up on the ladder, leadership roles. And this last year, I hit a pretty big burnout mode. It was different. It wasn't the burnout mode from working 60, 70-hour weeks. It was burnout for not feeling or not having that fulfillment at my job, and then bringing home negativity, just overall not happy. And I do think a lot of it stemmed from just work and how I was, not feeling fulfilled. And then I came to you. And I think it took a big pivotal moment in my career to realize I needed to change something. I just wasn't happy. I wasn't giving my all at home, nor was I giving my all at work.
I can remember those days sitting in the hospital. I had an early pregnancy as well with Ava, my firstborn. And I can remember, in fact, I have pictures of us in the hospital, and I'm on my computer helping my team book deals. I was a sales manager at the time. And my VP David would call me and be like, "You're having your baby and you're in the hospital." I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm on bed rest for like however long we can make it. So I might as well be doing something."
Yeah. Yep. That was very similar story.
Similar story. So I know that feeling of like, you just have to keep busy. But when you're staying busy, did you realize, like, now looking back, did you correlate any of that busyness with, like, were you trying to avoid any kind of feelings or avoid anything at the time? Like, where did the busyness come from?
Probably it stemmed from just me trying to overachieve. Just I'm not sure. Like, I just didn't ever want to let anyone else down. So maybe a little bit of like, making sure I was being successful at work, but also maybe people pleasing, making sure I was, crossing my T's and dotting my I's. I think that looking back, that's probably the two things that come to mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so many women can relate. We're trying to keep the balls in the air and trying to keep everybody happy and be responsible and, juggling all the balls at one time. But then something always gives, usually, when you're trying to do all of that. So tell me about, like, what did the burnout, you had mentioned burnout, so we'll go there. Like, what did that feel like?
For me personally, I was feeling for probably 8 months a level of negativity that I just never experienced in my life. And I didn't know how to pinpoint it. And it wasn't negativity towards anybody specifically or anything like that, but I just was finding negatives in situations instead of positives. So at work, there's a saying like misery loves company. I just was feeling certain things and my attitude was changing. But then what would happen is I would come home and I would vent to my husband and I wouldn't be fully engaged with my kids. And and not that he didn't care, but it was an everyday occurrence where I just was so burnt out or tired, or, there's so many different words I was feeling. And I didn't know how to fix it. I really didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you feel lost at all? Like, just like kind of that hopeless despair, like, where am I at kind of feeling?
Yeah. And I think professionally, I've focused I guess I was raised to just, you have to work hard. There's no play hard. It's work hard and work your way up. And so I got into a position that I finally felt like, more leadership. It was a leadership role, and definitely a huge career growth for me. But I was lost. I was like, I don't know if this is what I want to do. And I wasn't, again, that word of fulfillment, I just wasn't fully, I got there and then I was like, I don't know if this is what I want. And it was affecting me because that's what I've worked my whole career for.
Right. And that's a scary moment, I think, especially for high achieving women, because you usually, we're the kind that can go into a conference room and everyone's trying to figure out a problem. And like, you're the one usually that can walk right in and be like, nice, it's this, like, it's that simple. You know what I mean? Like, we're problem solvers innately. We can see things that people can't see. And so when you yourself feel lost, that's got to be really unnerving and really unsettling.
Absolutely. And I mean, I started doing, I guess more LinkedIn searching. I was, looking for coaches, and I was looking for more specifics in sales, and also just being a mom in sales. I was looking for community that kind of understood what I'm going through. or people that I can just bounce ideas off of and figure this out. Cause it was just a weird moment in my life that I don't want to say a midlife crisis because but at the same time, it kind of was, because I just was like, I need to change something. It has to be drastic. I have to change my mood. I might, make a different career path, something that's going to bring me more happiness internal, like at work, and then also bring it home because it was affecting me.
Yeah, definitely. Tell us like how did that journey, like how did you make the shift? Like what really was that process? If you could explain that a little bit more of just how, was it finding clarity in your career? Was it something else? Like what really helped you feel fulfilled?
I think there's a lot of contributing factors. I have a really supportive husband, and he was like, he's like, find a coach, join a leadership group. And he even, little things, join a book club, whatever. He was throwing out ideas to do something for myself, because I'm always putting everyone else first. I know you and I had talked about like horseback riding. I used to do that. And then I put that to the back burner. So he was my biggest advocate. And then also, I mean, I am going to pay, a huge shout out to you. When I found you, we had our initial call, and immediately I was like, this is somebody I connected with, that I truly genuinely feel like can kind of help me through some of the things that I'm dealing with. So then when I, started coaching with you, I took everything and I did it. I didn't just say I was going to do it. I started writing down things. I started reading again. I tried little skills on boundaries specifically. I started setting boundaries at work, which helped, tremendously. I just started blocking off calendar. It sounds like little things, but we all get stuck in, we'll just put it as tentative. And I started just having boundaries at work, and I just started changing my attitude. And on top of that, I decided at that moment, and this isn't for everybody, but I did decide, I think a different career path is probably a good fit for me. I was doing fine at my last career. I just wanted something a better fit, if that makes sense, something that was going to make me happier.
Yeah, something more aligned, right? Where the it's that pull and pull of the energy, where sometimes when we're misaligned, it feels like I got to really give to make things happen. And you might be killing it at top performance, but the energy drain is so much more, as if you were putting in, even less, and it was more aligned, and you get better results. It's just an easier experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So now journey. So it's been about a year journey. Yeah. And you've been a part of it all throughout the whole thing. And again, by actually following through on some of the things, I've never been a journal, I don't journal. It's not something that's ingrained in me, but even writing down things, things you're grateful for the day, things you want to accomplish, and then also, again, setting boundaries with friends, with family. It's been life-changing. I'm a lot happier than I was, in a much better place than I was a year ago. And I genuinely feel like I'm a better mom because of it.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. How has that communication changed within your own family and with friends?
Yeah, I think, without coming off too blunt, I just decided I'm in a point in my life where it's like, if say there's, something going on with your friends, they're going out, instead of just saying, yeah, maybe, if I don't want to go, I'm just gonna be like, hey, I can't make it. And I don't have to, put any kind of excuses like my husband's doing this, my kids are doing that. Just being honest and just saying, hey, I can't make it, maybe next time. And with my girls, I think obviously because I'm happier, they can feel my energy. I'm not, when they come home at the end of the day, even if I have a few extra meetings, I am fully engaged. Whereas before I was burnt, I was tired too. So like I'd pick them up from school and I didn't want to do anything. I just turn on the TV, have a snack, and then, so I really feel like now it's changed. It's still a work in progress, but that's changed quite a bit too. And then with my husband, we are committed to just, not talking about work all the time after after the end of the day, and just focusing, doing more date nights, focusing on ourselves, and really reconnecting that way.
Yeah, that's so good. And what had to shift internally inside of you going through, you can have third party people helping you out all day, but really it's you doing the work, right? We're just like the facilitators and you get to go in and do the work. And so what unlocked internally that allowed you to be more vulnerable and be more open and connected and more present?
I think just maybe, going back, looking at, maybe how I was raised, or just some internal things or pressure that I've had, and just realizing that I can change, the generational shift, if you want to say. I don't have to be a certain way, or don't have to be portrayed as successful in somebody else's eyes, and just realizing like I am who I am, and just owning it, and not looking back on the past so much, and just trying to change that pattern of maybe, as I was talking about, like, getting into a spiral and negative, having negative thoughts, or, and just kind of working my way out of that. Because I don't, that's a hard question, but that's what I worked on, just trying to get past those internal blocks that I had previously. And I'm still working on it every day.
We all are, even me, even me, and that's why we do this work, because it's so liberating. That's where the freedom comes in. And it sounds like you were really going through that journey of self-worth, of unlocking 100%. From third-party validation, which is so hard because in sales, we both came from sales, like you're in those corporate environments, marketing, same thing. Like you're always looking for someone to approve what you're doing, and you're looking for other people to like what you're doing and accept it, right? It's just how it's set up. And it sounds like you went through and unlocked that little by little.
Yeah. And like I said, I think it's still something, it's a daily thing I have to work on. I think if you're been prone to being a high achiever and a people pleaser, it's letting some of that stuff go, and just I keep coming back to just being me, which, not everybody might agree with a process or how I am in certain situations, but just owning it, and unlocking some of that self-worth. That was my biggest breakthrough, I think.
Yes, that makes me so happy. That's so good. Because I see freedom there. And then through your confidence that was built in that process is where you really can step into a place of clarity, because you just know what you want. And you're like, there's no question, this is where I'm going. But you have to walk through those other phases to be able to just get the layers off, you know?
Absolutely.
That's so good. What do your kids think? Do they think they have like a new mom?
I don't, it'd be funny to ask them. I will ask them. I don't know. I'll ask them. That's a great question. I'll be like, hey, how was I last year? I don't know.
You do. Give them, you know what I did a couple of quarters ago? I was like, you know what? I'm scoring myself, my job, and I've always done this in corporate life too. Like, you give yourself your assessment. I'm going to give my kids the assessment of me. And that was really a pivotal moment where I was like, okay, here you go answer these questions. My 6-year-old, she was really young. She can't, she's just learning how to write and that kind of stuff. But I'd ask her the questions, and then my 8-year-old, she was like, oh yeah, she's mini me, mini controller, 100%. And it was like, oh, you're just going to give it to me. Okay, got it. But the rawness and the clarity with that is amazing when your kids get to rate mom or dad. It gives them a sense of freedom, and it gives them a sense of just leadership and open communication with you that I think
I would definitely try that.
Yeah. Sometimes we didn't grow up with that kind of ability to give feedback.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And you touched on just like the control aspect. So on top of and I think it might come with people in sales, but also having that control aspect. That's one thing I probably forgot to talk about in, the last half an hour on this journey. when situations have been out of my control, I really struggle with that. That was probably one of the biggest things I needed and still need to work on. If something doesn't go the way, like, A, B, C, D, that it should go in order, it's been hard for me to get past that. And just recently, I had an experience that I had no control in a situation and at work, and it worked out great. And I took it with strides, and I learned to just go with the flow and accept things. And I think the last 3 or 4 months, I'm better because of it, because there was nothing I could control. I mean, it was just, the way some processes were going. And so you just go with it. And it was liberating, not every day dwelling like, well, what about this? Or what about this? It was like, I'm going to do what I can for now. And when the time comes, I'll, change the processes and everything in place. So it was a good working experience for me.
And is this in the new role?
Yes.
That's a huge step, Sara. Congratulations. That is hard. And you're even in a brand new company, new team, new everything. So that's even extra difficult to do because, you're just walking in, you're not necessarily, in sync yet with the whole team at this point.
Yeah. So that was really good. So, and they were going through a whole reorg, and they, a whole enterprise model. So I didn't necessarily have a team or anything to, anybody to bounce ideas off of. I didn't really have a direct manager. And now I am, I met my team this last week. That it just was fantastic. And I just learned, you can't control everything. And I think you told me that sometimes too. You have to let go of control. I don't know why that's so hard for sales professionals. I think it's, you like to know what's going to happen, and you like to know how it's going to happen. So it was really great for me to just have that 3 months to grow that way internally.
Yeah, definitely. That's a high achiever personality trait. I mean, and that's part of what makes us all great as high achieving professionals. And it doesn't matter what vertical you might be in or what role you have. We're usually visionaries. We're usually like, hey, we are results oriented, right? We want to just get there. And if something's not happening, we're going to figure it out and pivot quickly to make it happen. And that's beautiful. The dark side to the high achiever personality is that we can get so ingrained and so detail oriented, or so sucked into trying to get there at any cost. Our own, and we're willing sometimes to make those choices that sacrifice our personal life, our health, connection, and our relationships. And we drive so hard to the result that oftentimes we can just be depleted by the time we get there. And that's when burnout happens, depression, anxiety, you name it, all of the things. And then add in parenting, it can just be a struggle.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's the thing I think a lot of working moms deal with is just, you're at work all day, then you come home, and there's no magical button where you can just have that transition and just kind of like unwind for a second in between your two, I guess we want to say jobs, because like parenthood is a job too. And it's a struggle for all women. It's when to just shut off, and when to shut off with work, or when to shut off for the end of the night. It just it's hard.
Yeah. So how do you transition from the 9 to 5? Or in your case, probably a lot longer than 9 to 5, I would imagine. But how do you make that transition when you're ready to go pick up the kids? Do you take a break? Do you?
It's the boundaries. Again, bring it back to the boundaries. I put it on my calendar. It's a reoccurring, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I pick up my kids. I have it blocked off, and I don't feel guilty anymore, because I think I'm past the point where I'm like, oh, I have to be at my desk from, 8 to 5, 9 to 5, answering emails all the time. Like I said, a client call, I will get on if my kids are home, but I just have it on my calendar, and I've gotten better at that transition. You can't do it all. And that was where the burnout was happening previously, is trying to do it all, and trying to be a great mom, be a great wife, clean the house, cook, everything that comes with that, and be a good coworker, and hit your numbers and lead a team, whatever it might be. It's not that I don't care. I will always be available if it's a big meeting or something, but my kids have activities. I'll bring my laptop while they're there, but I'm not gonna, you know, sit and work till 7 or 8 o'clock, and do that. And the same thing goes for the weekend. Unless it's a really important email, I kind of just stopped looking at my phone all the time, picking up my phone all the time. I just don't need to.
Oh, I love that. I absolutely love that. Like, you're choosing how to lead your day. I mean, that's what leading motherhood is all about. And so what I heard was that it didn't matter of the job that you had. It didn't matter about that. Cause I think sometimes people get into this pattern of job hopping where they're like, oh, it's the job. It's the boss. I used to be like that. I totally was like that. Like, oh, it's my boss. It's this person. I had kind of a rough transition myself after having kids and in the tech world and in different things, always thinking it was somebody else's issue. And then I burned out. Then I realized, oh, it's actually how I'm managing my energy. Got it. Okay. Yeah. So that's what I'm hearing you say is it's not the job, it's how you're leading your day.
Well, and that is exactly like what you and I had talked about. I wanted to change my behaviors, because it's so easy to always look at somebody else and be like, exactly like you said, like it's the way they manage me. Well, what were you doing that didn't help the situation? Or what could you have done differently in a meeting that would have eased, something going on in your workday? And same thing. I was just, figuring out what I needed to change internally to be a better all around in my life. And I think it is so easy to just point a finger at somebody else. So, that's what I think everybody needs to work on, is just seeing like how you can, change the way your attitude is, or something you're doing to make your life and other people's better.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all in our way of being and how you're showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, so what's next? Like, how do you, like, what are you kind of envisioning for, Sara 2.0 after this last year has been transformational for you, and where do you see, your motherhood journey, leading in this next phase?
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm really giving myself time for me, especially that's something I've been working on this last couple months. Doing things for myself and not feeling guilty. Whether that's going to the store without your kids, or going out on a girls' night, or whatever that might be, I'm making time for myself. And I think that we get so caught up with our kids and our whatever your situation is, you're always put on the back burner. So that is my number one priority, is to take care of myself too. My husband always jokes when I get home from, a happy hour, either with its coworkers or my friends, I come home and I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, you need to do that stuff more often, because it's healthy and it's good for you. And just really being present with my kids. I think, I am in a career path. I'm at a career right now that I am very excited and fortunate to be a part of. And, just sticking with those boundaries, putting everything I have into work, but also knowing that there's some things that are out of my control, being home with my kids more, not feeling that bad on taking vacation. That's something else. Still, my husband was like, you never take vacation. I'm going to Arizona in a couple weeks, and I didn't even take, cause I'm like, no, I have a couple meetings. I'll just work Thursday. It's not a big deal. So that's something I'm going to work on too. Just getting better at prioritizing what's important. And
I love that.
So
Oh, that's
my
so
main
good.
goal.
Yes, that's so good. Leading with intention. And then really what I heard is the committed action, because we can say all day long, we're going to do these things, but if you don't follow it up with actually doing it, you will always have a delta and you will never make it to the other side. So I think that's the key piece, is you did the work.
Yeah.
Well done.
And it's something I'm so passionate. I want other people to do it too, because it's, going through a journey, having either if you have a coach or you don't, pinpointing things that you can work on to make yourself better and be a better mother it's been the best thing I've done for myself, which is part of this my self journey, intentions and stuff. It's the best thing I've done.
Oh, that's